Today, we're talking about finding $100,000 startup ideas. And if you want to discover real opportunities, you have to know where to look. But here's the thing, I'm not gonna give you a list of generic startup ideas because that's not what you need. What you need is to understand where actual demand lives and how to uncover it systematically. Most people think finding startup ideas means brainstorming or copying what's already successful. But it turns out the biggest opportunities are hiding in plain sight, in the complaints and frustrations people share every day on Reddit. Because if enough people are complaining about the same problem, that's probably a gap worth millions. So what I'm about to show you is the exact automated system I built using n8n that scrapes Reddit, analyzes posts for business opportunities, and surfaces profitable startup ideas with validated demand. This isn't guesswork. This is data-driven opportunity identification that runs 24/7. By the end of this video, you'll have the complete workflow and know exactly how to build your own startup idea discovery machine. I added the AI tools that we're gonna use in the description so you can check them out. Alright, before we start building this thing piece by piece, let me run the full workflow so you can see exactly how it works. I'll go ahead and execute it, and the first thing that kicks in is the Reddit node. It's set to search the ChatGPT subreddit with the keyword how to fix. That's our starting point. It pulls in any posts that match that setup. If you look at the workflow overall, it really has three main parts. First, scrape Reddit for posts. Second, analyze if these posts are actually describing a problem. And third, once a real problem is confirmed, generate a solution and send everything straight to Airtable. Before the run finishes, let me quickly show you the Airtable base. It's completely empty right now. No posts, no analysis, nothing yet. While we're waiting for the data to come in, here's what's happening behind the scenes. The first AI agent is checking each scraped post to see if it's a genuine problem or not. Then, the second AI agent takes over and generates a clear solution for any post that passed the first check. Now that the workflow has wrapped up, let's go back to Airtable. You can see it's no longer empty. All the scraped posts are neatly listed, each one marked with whether or not it's a real problem, and right next to it is the AI-generated solution. It's all populated automatically, no manual input needed. And that's the big win here. You're taking unstructured community data and instantly turning it into an actionable knowledge base. Instead of scrolling through Reddit threads and trying to keep track of user issues yourself, Airtable just fills up with problems and solutions in real time. After checking out the demo, the first thing we've got to do is get a couple of quick prerequisites out of the way. Nothing too heavy, just connecting Reddit so the workflow can actually pull posts, and setting up an Airtable base so we get somewhere clean to store the problems and solutions once they're generated. Let's start with Reddit. Inside n8n, head over to the credentials section and create a new one. Search for Reddit OAuth2 API, pick that and hit continue. Now, this part requires jumping over to reddit.com/pref/apps in another tab. We're basically creating a little app on Reddit's site so n8n can talk to it. Give it a name, drop it in the redirect URL that n8n provides, and hit create. Reddit will then hand you a client ID and a client secret. Copy both of those back into n8n, hit connect my account, and approve the access prompt. Once that's done, you're all set. n8n and Reddit can talk to each other. Now let's prepare Airtable. Head to airtable.com, create a new base, and choose the option to build one from scratch. Give it a name that makes sense for this workflow. I usually clear out the default rows to keep things clean. For the default name field, rename that to title and then make it a single line text field. Then add a long text field called problem, a created time field called date, a URL field for the Reddit link, and one more long text field for the solution. And that's it. With those two pieces in place, Reddit credentials hooked up and Airtable structured, we've got the foundation ready. From here on out, the workflow can scrape, analyze, solve, and instantly save everything into an Airtable without us lifting a finger. After watching the demo and getting the prerequisites out of the way, the first real step is to give the workflow a starting point. That means setting up a simple trigger and a Reddit search so we can automatically pull in the exact kind of posts we want to track. Reddit is packed with real user problems and frustrations, and scrolling through it manually would take forever. Automating the search ensures we capture those pain points instantly and at scale, laying the foundation for the analysis and solution generation steps that come later. First, I'll drop in a manual trigger node. This lets us test the workflow on demand without waiting for a schedule to fire. Right after that, I'll add a search for a post node from Reddit, which is what actually scrapes posts based on the configuration we set. Now let's configure the node step by step. Under resource, I'll select post, and for operation, I'll choose search. For location, I'll point it to a specific subreddit, and here I'll enter ChatGPT. Then I'll add a keyword we want to search for, how to fix. This way, we only bring in posts where people are explicitly asking about fixes or solutions. I want to keep the results manageable. Return all will stay off, and the limit will be set to 50 so it only grabs the first 50 posts. Once that's done, I'll execute the workflow. The Reddit node now returns 50 items from the ChatGPT subreddit that match our keyword, which means the trigger is set, the search is configured, and we've got a steady stream of real user posts ready to move into the next stage of the automation. However, not all scraped Reddit posts are valuable. Many have low engagement or no real content at all. So if we send everything downstream, we'd just be wasting processing time. So now we're going to add an if node that only lets high-quality posts through, ones with strong engagement and actual text worth analyzing. I'll drop in an if node right after the Reddit search. The first condition we'll set up is based on upvotes. From the scraped data, I'll map the upvotes field to value 1. Set the type to number and then choose is greater than. For value 2, I'll enter 1000. That way, only posts with more than 1,000 upvotes get through. Next, we'll add another condition. This one checks the actual text of the post. I'll map self-text from the scraped data to value 1, set the type to string, and then choose is not empty. That ensures we're filtering out any posts that don't contain meaningful content. Let's go ahead and execute the step. The dataset drops from the full 50 posts we scraped earlier down to just 12 high-quality items. These are the posts that are both popular and have actual content to work with, so we know the AI agents will only be spending time on the best material. We've drastically reduced the noise and kept the workflow lean. From here on out, every AI step will be focused on posts that people actually care about and that contain enough detail to generate meaningful solutions. Right now, we've filtered down our Reddit posts to the ones that are actually worth analyzing. The next problem is that Reddit data comes packed with a ton of extra fields, author info, metadata, and plenty of clutter we don't need. Passing all of that downstream would just make the workflow messy and harder to manage. To keep things clean, we're going to use a set field node to hold on to only the essentials. I'll drop in a set field node right after the if node. Under configuration, I'll switch the mode to manual mapping so we can decide exactly what fields we want to keep. From the filtered Reddit data, I'll map the following: title, cell text, UPS, URL, and created. While mapping, I'll also rename self-text to problem. That small change makes it clearer later on when we're building logic around actual issues users are posting about. Now let's execute the workflow. If you look at the output, you'll see it's stripped down to just the essentials: titles of the post, the problem text, the number of upvotes, the link, and the created date. No extra noise, just clean input ready for the next steps. In order to keep the workflow even more organized, I'll also add a note to cover this entire first section and label it scraping. That way, it's easy to see at a glance where the data collection part ends before we move on to analysis. This step may seem small, but it makes a huge difference. Trimming the fat early keeps the workflow stay lean, efficient, and easy to maintain. And with clearer field names, every downstream node works with data that's simple to understand and map. Now that our data is clean and trimmed down, our next step is to figure out which of these posts are actually real problems. Just because a Reddit post has the phrase "how to fix" doesn't mean it's useful. Some might be jokes, off topic, or missing enough context to work with. I want to separate the signal from the noise. We're going to bring in an AI agent node. I'm going to add an AI agent node to the workflow and start configuring it. For the source for prompt, I'll set it to define below. In the user message field, I'll paste in the prepared script that tells the model what to look for in the post. Then in the system message field, I'll paste the second prepared script that sets the ground rules for how the agent should respond. Next, we'll add a chat model and choose GPT-5 Nano. To improve the reasoning quality, I'll also attach a think tool, so the model has a better way of working through its decision-making before giving an answer. Let's go ahead and execute the workflow. If you look at the results, you'll see that each post now has a simple output, either yes or no. A yes means the post qualifies as a real problem worth solving, while a no means it doesn't make the cut and won't move forward. This is a crucial step because it prevents the workflow from wasting time generating solutions for irrelevant or meaningless posts. Only the valid issues move ahead, which makes everything downstream more accurate and focused. Right now, we've got two separate pieces of data flowing through the workflow. On one side, the set fields node is giving us the clean Reddit data: title, problem, text, upvotes, URL, and created date. On the other, the AI agent node is running a simple yes or no answer on whether each post is a real problem. On their own, neither dataset is complete. What we need now is to bring them together, so every post carries both its context and its classification. That's where the merge node comes in. I'll drop in a merge node and configure it to bring these streams together. Under mode, I'll choose combine, and for combine by, I'll select position. That way, the data from the two inputs will line up properly. For the connections, I'll hook the set fields node into input 1 and the AI agent node into input 2. Now let's execute the step. Looking at the output, you can see it all in one place: the clean Reddit data right alongside the yes-no analysis from the AI agent. This merge step is key because it gives us a single unified dataset that's ready for the next stage. When we move into solution generation, the workflow will have both the original context and the AI classification in one package, making it much easier to decide what needs a response. The merge gave us a complete dataset with both the original Reddit content and the AI's judgment, but not all of those posts deserve to move forward. To keep things efficient, we need a filter that only lets confirmed problems through. That's where another if node comes into play. I'll drop in an if node, then configure it so the workflow knows exactly what to look for. From the merge node, I'll map the analysis output into value 1. Then I'll set the type is to equal and enter yes as value 2. This way, only posts the AI agent marked as yes will pass forward into the solution generation stage, while everything else gets filtered out. Now, let's execute the workflow. The results are clearly split into two branches: yes for posts that are real problems, and no for posts that don't qualify. This makes it obvious which items continue through the pipeline and which ones are safely ignored. Again, to keep things in order, I'll also add a note covering this whole section of the workflow and label it Analyze. That way, it's easy to see that everything up to this point has been about identifying which posts are valid problems. Filtering here is critical. It saves time, reduces noise, and ensures the next stage only focuses on meaningful issues. Instead of wasting AI resources on irrelevant content, the workflow now moves forward with high-quality inputs that are worth solving. Up to this point, the workflow has done a solid job of finding Reddit posts, cleaning them up, and confirming which ones are real problems. But collecting problems isn't enough. We also need to provide answers. Here, automation becomes truly valuable. If we're gonna add another AI agent node, we can automatically generate clear, step-by-step solutions for every post flagged as yes. Inside the true branch of the previous if node, I'll add a new AI agent node and start configuring it. For the source for prompt, I'll set it to define below. In the user message field, I'll paste in the prepared script that tells the model how to respond with solutions. Then, in the system message field, I'll paste the second prepared script to establish the overall instructions and tone for the answers. Next, I'll add a chat model and choose GPT-5 Nano. I also want to make sure the reasoning is as strong as possible, so I'm going to attach a think tool so the model can work through its steps before producing the final output. Let's go ahead and execute the workflow. And there you go, it shows not just the original Reddit post and its problem classification, but also a detailed solution generated by the AI. Each problem comes with actionable steps users can follow, which turn raw community issues into practical fixes. This step is what transforms the workflow from a tracker into a true problem solver. It doesn't stop at identification. Instead, we're delivering consistent, structured answers that can be stored, shared, and built on. It's the part that makes this automation genuinely useful. We now have two important outputs moving through the workflow. From the if node's true branch, we're carrying the structured Reddit problem data that came out of the set fields node. And from the AI agent node, we've got the detailed solutions that were just generated. On their own, each side is incomplete. One only tells us the problem, the other only tells us the fix. To make this data truly useful, we need to bring them together into a single record. I'll add a merge node to the workflow and set it up. Under mode, I'll choose combine, and for combine by, I'll select position. For the inputs, I'll connect the if node's true branch into input 1 and the AI agent node into input 2. Now let's execute this step. Looking at the results, you can see the clean Reddit problem data and the AI-generated solutions paired up side by side. Like in the first merge node, this merge creates a complete, unified record of both the issue and its fix. Nothing gets lost in between stages, and the dataset becomes a structured knowledge base that can be stored, tracked, or shared. It's a huge leap in value compared to keeping the problem and solution separate. The last step in this workflow is making sure all the problems and solutions we've generated are captured in a proper database. At this stage, we don't want to be copying and pasting into Airtable by hand. It would take too long, and it would be easy to make mistakes. Instead, we'll set up a node that automatically creates or updates records in Airtable so everything is saved in real time. I'll add an Airtable node to the workflow and set it to create or update a record. For the configuration, I'll choose the resource type as record and the operation as create or update. Then I'll select the base from the list, followed by the table where we want the data to live. Under mapping mode, I'll set it so we can manually map each column. From here, we'll connect each field in the workflow to its matching column in Airtable. The title field from the Reddit data will map to the title column in Airtable. The problem field will map to the problem column. The ups field, which represents upvotes, will map to the upvotes column. The URL field will map to the URL column. Finally, the output field that holds the AI's generated solution will map to the solution column. For matching, we'll set the column to use as ID, which ensures that if the same record already exists, it will be updated instead of duplicated. Once everything is in place, we can now execute the workflow. The results now show up directly in Airtable, every problem paired with its solution, neatly stored and ready to be searched, filtered, or shared. Now, the entire process is complete, starting from scraping posts from Reddit, analyzing them, generating solutions, and finally storing everything in a clean, structured Airtable base. And that's it. We've just built a system that listens to where real demand lives, cuts through the noise, and turns complaints into opportunities. Instead of wasting hours scrolling Reddit threads or guessing what might work, you now have a workflow that surfaces problems with proof behind them and pairs them with actionable solutions. This is exactly how you uncover $100,000 startup ideas. The biggest opportunities aren't hidden in some secret database. They're right in front of us in the frustrations people share every single day. With automation doing the heavy lifting, you can focus on spotting the patterns and deciding which ones are worth building into a business. If you want to set this up yourself, the tools and prompts are linked below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more builds like this, and I'll see you in the next one.